Thinking of buying or selling? Regina Vet Realty's objective is to make buying and selling real estate a stress-free experience for their customers. Feel free to call today at 419-294-2000.
Hey, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Amanda. And this is a podcast where we talk Wyandot business and the people who help run them.
What's up, Wyandot?
Welcome back to another episode of What's Up, Wyandot. On this episode, we have Dan Reid from Reid Insurance Agency. So hello, Dan.
Hello. Hello to both of you.
Hi, Dan.
Hello to all the, is it viewers, listeners,
Yes.
participants?
A little bit of both.
Okay, yes.
Fans.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me.
Fans.
I like this. That. Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Dan, you've been around Wyandot County for your whole life. So, take us back to the beginning. Obviously, you're the owner of Reid Insurance Agency. So, has it always been that way?
Well, let's see. Let's go way back.
Okay. Because you have a, 93-year-old father that's still
Well,
kicking?
my dad's working on 94 right now.
94.
He started the agency. He started the agency in 1975. And my dad had always been in the insurance business. He graduated from Ohio State. Graduated from Harpster High School, I think, with maybe 12 to 14 people.
It's a big place.
Yes, and of course I went to Harpster Elementary School, and so our roots run deep in Wyandot County, there's no doubt about it. My dad had worked for different insurance companies in corporate capacities. He worked in sales, he worked in claims, different areas of finance and management, and he was the executive vice president of Grange Life in Columbus. And in 1975, there was a tiny little agency in Upper Sandusky that came up for sale. And I think probably a lot of people with the insurance company maybe thought he was a little crazy, because here he was, 48 years old.
Yeah. And
he decided to strike out on his own. And he bought the old Ansel Schaefer agency, which was a really, really small agency. And he operated that at Harpster for, I think it was seven years. And then he moved it into Upper Sandusky. And we just happened to be at 107 North Sandusky Avenue, which is where Amanda has her.
Now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, the good.
Yeah, good karma or something.
Good karma
like that.
happens
Good luck.
in that
Good
cute
luck.
little space, yeah.
No, I have great memories there at 107. A little sliver of a building. And it was just sandwiched between the old newsstand, which of course is now Community First Bank. And on the other side was the cottage restaurant. Did a lot of good meals there. Had a lot of fun. And so in 1992, we moved the agency down to where it is right now, which is 202 East Wyandot Avenue. And we're just cat-a-cornered from the Wyandot County Sheriff's Department. And we've got, I think, really a great location. It's convenient for everybody. It's kind of a cool place to be, right there at the top of the hill. And at any rate, let's back up for just a minute. In 1982, my dad had an opportunity to go back with Grange Insurance, and he became their president and CEO. And I graduated from college
That's so
that year.
crazy to think something that big, like would reach out to, someone from Harpster to come and run their business at that level.
Well, I think a lot of it was that he'd had a lot of corporate experience. He'd been with Grange prior to striking out on his own. And I think they needed somebody that had that depth of experience. He had been in these different capacities with different insurance companies and so on. So when I took over the agency, I was 22 years old.
Wow.
Yes, I was a kid. I really was a kid.
Because he called you while you were in college, right? It was like, hey, you want to
Yeah,
come
he
home?
called me in college. He called me the summer of 1981. And being the overachiever that I was taking summer school that summer. And I said that with a smile on my face and a wink, okay? And my dad was like, well, I think you're going to need to be taking over the insurance agency. So I did, and the people of Wyandot County, Upper Sandusky, Harpster, Cary, Sycamore, all these outlying communities were absolutely wonderful to me. And I've always thought it helped that at the time I had a mustache and I looked like I was about 35 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And still look like I'm 35 years old. I just don't age. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, just kidding. So there's my story in terms of how I got started.
Wow.
We built the business, and over time, I've had wonderful people who work with us. And as you both know, I have long-term employees. Nadine retired several years ago. She'd worked for us for 26 years. And Amy's been with us for 3.5 years now. She's our agency manager. Wonderful, friendly, knowledgeable person. She had worked for nearly 30 years at the old Commercial Savings Bank.
Oh, yeah.
And she served in a number of different capacities. They always did a great job, very popular. And Betty Smiley is a customer service representative for us. Again, friendly, just super knowledgeable in the business and so on. She's been with us for, I think, 16 years now.
You've really lucked out with having genuinely nice women in your office.
I have. I am a person, I have to have long-term relationships in my life. Whether it's the person I'm married to or the good friends that I have, customers of mine. I mean, we have customers that have been with us for literally decades. People that my dad wrote back in the 70s, still customers, and we're so fortunate and thankful for that. And that goes with my employees too.
Now, what's everything that you cover? Now, I know you don't do health insurance, correct?
We don't do health
Okay.
insurance, so that's about all we don't do.
Okay.
That's just something where it's become a specialty. That needs to be the focus of what you do, and you need to be working with carriers where that's what they do. Been so many changes in the health insurance business over time. The insurance that we do work with is we do personal lines insurance. So what does that mean? That sounds like a bunch of insurance jargon. That's auto insurance, home insurance, motorcycle insurance, jet skis, four-wheelers, boats, motorcycles. We do quite a bit of life insurance.
I heard that life insurance is spiking because when COVID hit, people obviously started realizing life's short and you need to have that in place.
The sales of life insurance in this country, this is a fact. In fact, there was an article about it in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago. They've gone through the roof in the last year.
I'm sure.
And so I think it's a combination of things. People are thinking more about their own mortality, like you said. I think with people being at home, unfortunately some people being laid off, or the scope of their job, how they do it has changed so much that they're going, I've got some time on my hands, I've successfully put off doing my life insurance, I think I need to do it now.
Yeah.
And we've certainly seen that in our business as well. We've seen a number of people coming to us with their life insurance needs and so on. In addition to the personal line side of the business, we also do farm insurance and commercial insurance. Commercial insurance means business insurance, whether it's a service-related business, like a real estate agency or a restaurant or a manufacturing facility. We have a number of different plans available for people that are interested in those types of insurance. And the life insurance piece is really interesting because so many people, I think, feel that they have to go to a life insurance agent only. In other words, that's all they sell is life insurance. But most of the companies that we represent, and really many of the auto and home type insurance companies that are out there, sell life insurance as well. And one of the cool things about Grange Insurance, which is one of our companies, is they actually have an auto life insurance discount.
Oh.
So you can put your auto insurance, your life insurance together and you save money. So that's kind of a cool thing. So how do you follow
Cover
that
everything.
up? I know, that's
You do
so
cover
exciting
everything.
to talk about life insurance, right?
It's so exciting. It's good to know. Obviously, having time on their hands, people do put it off. So it's nice that people are not realizing you should probably get that life insurance or probably, I'm going to get that boat for this summer.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Sure.
I really believe this, and I kind of make light of it sometimes. If people have 100 things they've got on their to-do list, I'm afraid life insurance is maybe 101.
Yeah.
Okay, like, I'll do it later. And this is my own theory on that, okay? It's easy to put off because it's kind of an unpleasant thing to think about.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it goes beyond that. The perception of a lot of people is that life insurance is going to be really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And for most people, that's absolutely not true.
You can get a lot of life insurance for a cheap cost.
Oh, yeah, you can. I mean, people that are overall in pretty good health can get tremendous amounts of term life insurance for very little money right now. And, I always invite people, give us a call, and that kind of leads to the next thing, okay, why people don't buy life insurance. And that is, they either had a bad experience with somebody trying to give them the hard sale. Oh, you gotta buy it today. I'm not gonna leave your house unless you buy it today. I've heard these horror stories, okay? Or somebody that's calling them 5 times a day saying, are you ready to buy yet?
And it's a hard topic because you're going to talk about this is what happens when you die.
Yes.
So it's not something, some people want to process that of like, okay, well, this is reality that I'm going to die someday, so let me think about that first, and then I'll think about how much money I want my family to have.
It's kind of uncomfortable, and it's like a topic that needs to be approached with a certain level of tact.
Yes.
So would you say that how do you balance between approaching it from like a marketing standpoint versus approaching it as like a human standpoint, if that makes sense?
Well, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not the greatest salesman in the world, okay? I'm not going to force anybody on anything on anybody, okay? This is a Fred Reidism, okay? This is coming from my dad. He said, I never want to sell something to somebody where they don't keep it.
Yeah.
And if they hate the product or don't think they need it, they aren't going to keep it. So I just try to find out what is it that you need, what's the purpose for it? Is it your kids, your grandkids? You have maybe quite a bit of debt, a home mortgage, you owe on a couple of cars. College debt is a big deal. And most people don't want to have the feeling that if something bad happens to them, that somebody else is going to be holding the bag that's going to have to pay that bill.
Yes.
And so we get a round number. Maybe it's $100,000, $50,000, maybe it's $500,000, whatever it might be. We come up with that number, and then we work back. And we say, how much is it that you can afford realistically?
Right.
And sometimes people can afford like $16 a month. And the crazy thing is, depending upon your age and your health, people are going, oh, I can't buy anything with $16 a month. Aha, but you might be able to buy something with $16 a month. That's just an example.
Well, if you're a young age, that adds, you don't know what you're going to look at in 10 or 20 years. You can have more or anything, but it's a start. Because I just started mine, I think, 2 years ago. Because I was finally like, I have a kid, and that was why I did it. Because if I die, I want my parents to be able to have that money to take care of Braxton. And that was the main thing of it. But I think, because you have to do almost like a health quiz, and I think a lady came to my office, and because she called and she's like, we need to set up to make sure, I don't have any, underlying diseases or anything that sticks out. And they just came straight to the office, she made an appointment, and she did it, and she was gone. Okay, that was the most simplest thing ever.
It's really easy. It's really easy to do, and it's interesting we're talking about that. We're going down all these rabbit trails, but buying life insurance is also much easier than it used to be. That's one of the sticking points for people. Like I said, they think it's going to be expensive, which it's not. They think they're going to get high pressure, at least with us, it's not. And then they think it's going to be this long, arduous process, and it's not. And in fact, again, I'm kind of defaulting back to this Wall Street Journal article, which is very, very true. They were talking about how a lot of life insurance companies are actually relaxing what they call their underwriting.
Okay.
So it's actually easier to get than it used to be, depending upon your age and your health. With many insurance companies, they now are just doing a telephone interview. They run your motor vehicle report. Nothing's private in this world. A lot of insurance companies do what they call a script check, so they find out what kind of medication you're on. Credit score, believe it or not, plays into insurance. Almost any kind of insurance you buy now, crazy, including life insurance. And then they take all that information, and people that are way smarter than me somehow take all that, boil it into a number, and then that's the level of risk you fit into. The lower your risk, the lower your premium. So it's an interesting thing. So why did I go through all that? it's easier to get than it's ever been. It really is.
And the great part is if they need help when they call, you guys don't have the automated people or a salesperson. It goes to Amy, and if Amy's not there, it goes to you. So
Exactly. I mean, basically, I tell people this, and now, occasionally, if we're really busy, or if you call after hours, you're gonna go to voicemail, okay? Now, I hate voicemail. So, we try to avoid that at all cost, but there's 3 of us in the office, and occasionally 4. Wendy comes in and works part of the time. But sometimes we've got 4 or 5 calls going at one time, and people are coming in the door. Inevitably, it's gonna go to the voicemail. But, that being said, when you call in, you're gonna talk to 1 of 4 people. This is not like a 1-800 number thing, or I always love the stuff where you can chat with someone online.
yeah.
Yes, never mind, it's probably a bot of some sort, but at any rate.
And it's like important information. I feel like that's something, and it's to me it's confusing. I think insurance can be confusing, especially to, I mean, I don't want to say because we're adults, but you know, like the adults that's had it for 20 some years, they just pay it every year. But when you're starting and you want to understand, do I need rental? Do I need car? Do I need to cover this or cover that? You want to talk to a human being that's going to be like, okay, let me hear your situation.
Right.
When a bot's not going to know that you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel like this isn't really a topic that, like a lot of high schoolers don't know anything about this.
Right.
It's not something that's ever, at least in my experience, covered in high school. So I
Yes.
feel like when you're young and you're first starting out and graduating and you hear about insurance, that sounds really intimidating and you think, that's above my knowledge, I don't know how to do that.
And most are like, when they buy that car, like, do I need insurance? Because it's
Yes.
a scary thing to call, like, I need
Right.
insurance, you don't know where to start.
No, it's so true, and I really fault insurance companies for the lack of knowledge of the average American consumer. It doesn't matter whether you're 20-something or whether you're 50-something, doesn't matter. If you follow the advertising that's on TV for insurance, particularly by some of the really huge, massive insurance carriers, they're all advertising what? They're all advertising car insurance.
I know, I always think about that army guy on top of my head.
Oh my gosh.
That's the one that's so aggressive. I'm like,
Yes. Yeah, I don't know about you, that stuff just doesn't appeal to
it
me.
doesn't. It's
And-
not something you wanted to call and talk to your first time.
This is what's crazy. I think it was in 2012, Geico Insurance Company surpassed Anheuser-Busch as the #1 advertiser in the world.
Huh.
Not in the United States, in the world. And I can't speak to this. I don't know that it continues to be that way, but I know for at least that year or 2 following 2012, they were the #1 advertiser, spending over this is with a B, $1 billion of advertising, and it's all on car insurance.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Just for a
Unbelievable.
little green gecko.
Yeah, and then I go, okay, now wait a minute. They're spending this kind of money on insurance. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean to Geico. There are many of the really large insurance companies that advertise. They all have cute characters, right?
Yeah.
They have a lady in a lab coat.
Oh yeah.
Right? They
yeah.
have a gecko. They have a guy that throws things out the back of his car and somebody runs over it on the highway, right?
Oh yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
Upset.
So,
Disaster guy.
I don't even remember the name of it.
Me either.
All I know is everybody's got their shtick, right?
Yeah.
They've got their gimmick. It's fun. It's funny. And what do they talk about? Well, sometimes I'm not sure what they're talking about. It's just weird.
You just know who they are and the funniness of it.
Yeah.
Like Flo, it's like
It's
you
funny.
know of her, but I don't really know what
Does
kind
it
of
speak
insurance they
to-
sell.
I remember the caveman guy.
Yeah.
Like he was a caveman
Yeah.
and they put him in a suit.
Oh, I remember
So
that.
easy a caveman
Man
can
can
do
do
it.
Yeah.
Now, I think that was probably in our world of cancel culture, that was probably considered politically incorrect.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a
don't
while.
know. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. Actually, I thought those were very funny. But those were some of my favorite ones, and they canceled the caveman.
You can't
Come
the
on,
money
people.
like.
But my only concern is they spend, these insurance companies, apparently billions of dollars on advertising. Does it say what happens if you wreck your car? Does it say anything about it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you just hit a deer on a county road, what do you do? Does it talk about what happens if you get a letter in the mail from another insurance company saying you owe us X amount of dollars because you ran into our customer. Or if somebody in that automobile accident gets hurt and you're getting a letter of representation from some attorney's office. You know, I mean, I really feel like the advertising for insurance, particularly auto insurance, has been so reduced down to just stupid stuff. I mean, it's amazing to me. And frankly, for somebody like me, it's kind of helpful because they aren't talking about anything meaningful. They aren't talking about customer service. They aren't talking about what happens if you have a house fire. They aren't talking about where you would live if you had a house fire in the middle of the night. This is my world. You know, I deal with real people, real situations, disasters, you know, fires, terrible windstorms. There's a tree through my roof. I just had a bad car accident. What do? I need a car rental. My car is at such and such place. How am I going to get it towed back to the body shop I want to go to? This is what I do.
So are you saying that you've ever had somebody call you, let's say, in the middle of the night, the biggest disaster you've ever had to deal with? Take us back to a night is like that.
Well, let's see. In 2012, and any of the, well, you don't have to be an old timer because that wasn't all that long ago, 9 years ago this summer, we had, and I'm going to butcher the name, but it's like the Del Ratio storm that came through Ohio.
The big storm that caused all the blackouts.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was horrendous.
I remember
It was absolutely terrible.
Small tornadoes everywhere.
Yes, it was just incredible. You know, and it was through here in a couple of minutes. It's amazing when you get an 80 to 90 mile an hour straight line wind. I'll never forget, we had 118 claims in that time.
Wow.
And
That's just through your office, right?
it was just through our office. And maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a
That's
tremendous amount of claims.
I mean,
Almost
yeah,
all
you're
of our
not a
property.
billion-dollar gecko company.
Right.
You're just a
Well,
small town.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
all in like one night storm.
And Wyandot County was really at the apex of that storm, okay? I mean, Findlay got it bad, but actually the very worst of it was down in Harpster. Harpster was a war zone. It was unbelievable. I remember I went down there the morning after, and there was a barn in the middle of the road. I couldn't get all the way down to my folks' house to check on
Oh my
things.
goodness.
And my folks had a tree that had fallen through their screened-in porch, and I mean, there were trees down, wires down. It was absolutely incredible. And in fact, I knew it was going to be bad. Got up that morning, I set my alarm for 3:30 in the morning, because I knew it was going to be rough. But I didn't have any idea how bad it was going to be. It was on a Friday, came through about 4:15 in the afternoon. I set my alarm for 3:30 in the morning. I thought, I'll go up. I'm just going to get everything set up, ready to go. I bet I have a few messages. I had 17 messages on my voicemail, and every single one of them was really significant wind damage, including a guy that had a tree all the way through his roof.
Oh my gosh.
So, one of the things I have to say is Grange Insurance is really our #1 carrier. We're independent agents, but they did a remarkable job. And they have emergency contact people, and I'm like calling them, leaving voicemails at like 4:15 in the morning saying, help, because this is going to be real bad. This is going to be historic. And it was. It was just incredible. And they had people out the next day.
I was gonna say they seem like a really good.
Yeah. They had claims adjusters in Harpster, Ohio, the next day by 2 o'clock in the afternoon working on claims. And it was impressive, which is one of the things that makes it easy to sell for a company like Grange, because if you sold for a crappy insurance company that didn't take care of people in a small town, you are going to get a bad name.
Oh yeah.
You know, people remember, people talk to each other.
Yep.
And
Bad word spreads fast.
yeah, and there have been other local disasters of different sorts. And the sad thing is I remember the dates. August the 20th of 2006, I think it was 06. That's the night where it never stopped raining. I think we had 8 inches of rain overnight. Some places had like 10 inches of rain. And we had everybody with water in their basement at that time. I think we had 68 water claims. And it was, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I got an inch of water in my basement. No, it's like my chest freezer is floating right now.
I remember that happened. It's like, because we walked down to our basement and it was like, you couldn't walk on the basement floor because it was up so high, like
Yeah, it was terrible. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, the rain, literally a massive storm front just sat on Wyandot County and never stopped raining the whole night. It was absolutely amazing. And I do have to tell a little story there, okay? Do we have time for all this excitement?
Yeah, we have a couple minutes before
Okay,
commercial break.
okay. I had a customer of mine, and again, this is a real testament to Grange. They were on their street here in Upper Sandusky, and everybody was lugging stuff out to the street for the garbage because it was all soaked, right?
Yeah.
Toys and carpet and just all the stuff that's in your basement, right? What is it? Oh, I don't know, it's stuff. But, you know, and some valuable things. They were all dragging it out to the street. And my customer told me that they started talking amongst each other about, you know, wow, this is really bad, it's terrible, what am I gonna do? And he said, I just said, well, I got my insurance with Dan Reid with Grange, and they've already been out to see me already. And the people are like, actually, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to back up on this story, okay, sorry. He said, I've already heard from my insurance company.
Oh.
And they were like, oh, you must have Grange Insurance with Dan Reid, because it had already kind of gotten around that Grange had adjusters out that quickly. They were out the next day.
And people want that, because especially
Yes.
a lot of people don't want to, I don't want to say they don't want to touch their things, but it's one of those, like, you feel like you don't want to mess with things until
Right.
they're there, and having water just sit there and your stuff be damaged for days at a time. I mean,
Well, and I was aware that some people waited over a week to have anybody call on them, which would be disastrous, and then you have problems with mold and mildew and just really bad stuff. So, as I've gotten older, I'm a nice guy, but I have very little patience. So, it's like when we have claims, come on folks, let's get on it.
yeah, like people they need you.
Yeah, and I'm not a bit afraid to reach out to claims people and say, hey, we need help, we need extra help, we need help right now.
Yeah, this is a lot.
So that's what it's all about.
So your clients probably feel pretty comfortable and safe knowing that you've got their back, you care about them, you're gonna go up to bat for them if it comes to that.
Well, I surely hope so. I mean, that's really my intention, okay? You know, I never ever, you know, in a perfect world, I don't want them to have to even know that, because nothing bad will ever happen. But if it does happen, I just always want people to know that, you know, we have a really, really strong commitment to taking good care of them.
All right. Well, if you're out there and you're thinking about it, just know that Dan Reid's got your back, and he's gonna take care of you.
Sounds like a great ad. Yeah.
Well, speaking of ads, we're gonna take a short
Okay.
break from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Thinking of buying or selling? Regina Vet Realty's objective is to make buying and selling real estate a stress-free experience for their customers. Feel free to call today at 419-294-2000.
All right, we are back. So now that we've talked insurance and life and death and the sadness of
We covered it all.
all of that, okay, so we're interested in knowing, so what is the weirdest thing that you've ever had to cover?
Well, this goes way back. When I graduated from college in '82, the National Tractor Pullers Association used to be located in Upper Sandusky. Their home office was here.
Oh, I know that.
And in fact, you know, of course, you go to a county fair anywhere around here. As far as I know, anywhere throughout the United States, you're going to always have the tractor pull, you know.
Yep.
It's crazy, the power and the sound and just
You
all
hear
of
through
that
all
stuff.
over.
That's a big deal.
When I was in college at Bowling Green, I
Oh,
remember
the BG tractor
the
pulls.
BG tractor pull, and everyone was like, "The tractor pull, it's right
Oh,
now."
Well, that's
deal."
the national championship is there. That is like the Super Bowl, the World
Yeah,
Series.
people would pack up on the Thursday and be there till Sunday.
Absolutely, that is a big, big deal. Well, Upper Sandusky was the home office of the NTPA. And I can't think of the name of the fella that was the president. Super nice guy. In fact, he was involved in the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh,
This is a long time ago, okay?
for my time.
Yes, it's hard to believe I'm only 29 and I did all that. But anyway, So actually, this was over 29 years ago, but great guy. And he got together with some people involved with the chamber and some other local community leaders, and they decided they were going to have a big event at the Wyandot County Fairgrounds. They were going to have a huge tractor pull out there, and food vendors, and invite people to come in and camp and so on. But one thing, I didn't know anything about the subject, and I was asked to be on the committee.
Because you tractor pull and you pull a lot.
Yes. Well, I have a garden tractor. That's as close as it gets. Okay. Man, it's powerful. Anyway, so at any rate, I was involved with Tom Martin, Steve Baker.
Okay.
Steve's a great friend. Tom's a great friend. And, of course, Mark Dan. And
Of course, Mark Dan was a part of it.
Yes, the four of us were the public relations committee. So we got to promote it, do the advertising, do the ad buys and all this kind of stuff. What I didn't know is with a tractor pull, you have to have a guaranteed purse for these big time people to come out. They aren't going to come out unless they're guaranteed that there's going to be a payout.
Right.
Well, in order to have a payout, you have to have people that come to it. And so one of the biggest things that can cause problems for a tractor pull or any event is what? Rain, the weather. So since I was the only property and liability insurance agent on this committee, and of course there were all sorts of other people, I just mentioned the three that were on the three other people that were involved with the advertising and so on. They said, Dan, can we buy rain insurance? So you asked for the weirdest thing I ever provided insurance for, or apparel, whatever you will. It was rain insurance, and yes, indeed, you can buy rain insurance.
So it just covers, like, if that happens, like, you're not liable.
Well,
For the
it has a
rain?
payout. It has a payout so that if it rains, and so you got to set the parameters. It has to rain between this hour and this hour, and it has to rain a certain amount. Is it 2 inches? Is it 1.5 inches? It's all set up in this policy, and it was by, conventional insurance companies are not going to be writing rain insurance, okay?
Oh, right.
If you call up your local insurance agent and go to one of the big name retail insurance companies, one of the big box companies, trust me, they don't write rain insurance. But I was able to go through what's called a brokerage house, and they were like, oh yeah, we do this quite a bit for like rock concerts and stuff like that.
Okay.
Outdoor rock concerts and
That's
other
cool.
outdoor events, carnivals, etc.
That's a lot of money they could lose out on.
Yes, because you're going to be paying that, however
Regardless.
many thousands of dollars to somebody, even if you don't go.
Right.
I think it's a reduced amount, but somehow that's distributed. So at any rate, the only bad thing about it is it rained. But it didn't rain during the hours that were set forth by the insurance company. So it really damaged the event. It really wiped out the event. And there was nothing paid by the insurance company because it didn't fit the definition within the rain insurance policy. Crazy. And this was in probably 83 or 84, something like that. I was a child at the time, of course.
Yes. Yeah, you're really living.
Giving away my age here, aren't I?
Barely living.
But anyway, it was a real education. And do you know who the underwriter was for that? Ta-da! Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's of London, which is a huge, it's the biggest risk management and insurance house for all sorts of strange things in the world. And
That makes sense.
they do things like, and maybe you've heard of this before, they write, as a for instance, rock stars will insure their voice.
That makes sense.
You'll hear about pitchers that will insure their right shoulder. So that if they blow it out, they blow out the rotator cuff or whatever, then they'll pay X amount of dollars. And of course, those policies are very expensive. You hear about college athletes, the top tier college athletes. It's like, here they are going into their senior year, their last year of playing. They're an all-star, they're amazing, they're going to be drafted in the first round or two, which translates into what? Millions of dollars,
Yes.
right? So they'll buy an insurance policy on their body, essentially.
Right.
Their
That's
knees,
pretty much
their hip, their arm.
their tools, so.
And, big time premiums. We're not talking a couple grand. We're talking big, big money. Now, I've never sold any of those policies, but there are companies that specialize in that.
Wow. I didn't think of that, because I mean, that's literally their life. If their arm goes out or something, I mean, they're useless almost.
Yes,
Point, so
yeah.
it's,
And all that money down the drain,
Yeah.
just because you played that one extra game in your college football career. You blew out your knee or your hip or whatever it might be. And you hear about stuff like that happens. So, at any rate, I really went down that
I know.
rabbit trail a long
That is
way.
interesting.
But, the fact is, and I'm gonna tie this in just a little bit, the fact is like, that teaches a little bit of lesson in the insurance business. And I speak to the, Scott Emmerich's,
Oh, yeah.
high school business class, and it's like general personal finance, that kind of thing. I go in a couple of times a year and speak to them. And I'm like, every insurance you buy, I don't care whether it's rain insurance or insuring your car. That doesn't sound like quite as exciting as insuring, some famous football player's knees or their arm or a rock star's voice.
Right.
The reality is it all revolves around one thing. It's a 4-letter word. Uh-oh. 4-letter words are supposed to be bad words. But it's the, let's see, I have to, not wearing my glasses. It's like, which end of the pen do I have? It's the R word. Any guesses?
4 letters?
4 letters. It is R-I-S-K.
Risk.
Risk. Everything
What's
that
it?
you insure,
I
the
see a
price of
lighter.
it. So many people, they say, why am I paying this amount for my car insurance, or my home, my motorcycle, my business, my farm, whatever it might be, my life insurance? Mostly, it is driven by the risk involved. And people don't consider that. Maybe they talk to their next door neighbor, and their neighbor's paying $200 a month for their car insurance, and they're paying $120. Well, it could be that you're getting a better deal from your insurance company. Or it could be that your neighbor has 3 speeding tickets in the last 2 years and had an accident. Or, other risk factors, like somebody lives 10 miles out in the countryside. They have a beautiful home, and hey, I'm all about living in the country, okay? But they live 10 miles out, they have 2 wood-burning stoves, they live in a frame home, okay? Whereas to compare that rate, risk-wise, with somebody that lives in town, with a fire hydrant out in front of their house,
Yeah.
the fire department 3 blocks away, they live in a brick home, and they don't have a wood-burning stove.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all risk factors.
So just like
So,
when you drive, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
depending on you can't have like this Mustang sport thing, and then like a van would probably be different because
Probably
you're
less
not
money.
hopefully not doing like 100 miles an hour in your mom van, but
Yes.
it's probably more risky.
Yes.
Who
I
knows?
better
There's
I
probably
better not
not.
talk about my past. Okay?
There's probably somebody out there.
But it's, and again, life insurance, same way. Somebody that's 60 is going to pay more than somebody that's 30. Okay?
Right.
It's the risk involved. A business that is manufacturing parts that's going to go on an automobile is going to pay a lot more for their insurance than, let's say, the corner shoe store.
Right.
It's just the relative risk involved.
Yeah.
So, there's your exciting insurance lesson for the day. Sorry.
No.
Wow,
Write it down.
these 2
Everybody-
ladies are still awake after going through that.
Everybody write all this information down.
Ugh.
So let's get into your more personal life. Obviously, you are married to Wendy.
Yes.
For how many years?
We have been married going on 35 years.
Did I get it
Like
correct?
I said,
I'm
I'm
sure she's-
into long-term relationships. Yes.
And you have 2 children?
We have 2 kids, Hannah and Nick. Hannah is 31. Sorry, Hannah. I guess 31. Better to cheat on the low side anyway.
Yeah.
And Nick is 24 years old.
And both pharmacists?
Well,
Well, Nick is about to be.
yeah,
finally.
he is in his last year of pharmacy school. He's in his clinical rotations at St. V's up in Toledo.
Yeah.
And Hannah is a district leader with CDS.
Yeah.
And her husband is a pharmacist. So, I don't know where, all of these smarts had to have come from someone other than me, okay? Like maybe Wendy or
Yeah.
it skipped a generation from the grandparents or something like
Well,
that.
now you have a grandkid, so maybe that's where it'll skip a generation and he'll be the insurance agent.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, we have a wonderful grandson, and I gotta see him once a week to get my fix.
Oh, yeah.
It's so awesome because literally when I get together with him, the whole world goes away.
Yes.
You know, it's like, what do you do? Well, we play with cars. Well,
With cars
what
and
else do you do?
sugar.
Well, we play with trucks. What else do you do? We make Play-Doh and completely mess up my daughter's house because there are tiny little pieces of Play-Doh lying around.
It's the best.
It is so fun, and it was the same way when my kids were little. Poor Wendy, I always tell people she had 3 children, Nick and Hannah and Dan.
Yeah.
And you know, like, can we get an easy bake oven so we can play with that? Because I never had one when I was a kid. That's a true
Oh my
story.
gosh. I could see that, she being the one that's trying to set the guidelines, and then you're the one like slipping something.
Yeah.
Like, actually take this to your bed, don't say nothing to your mom.
Well, my
That's
kids
good
always
advice.
knew that they were in trouble if Dad got mad. Because Dad almost never got mad. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that would be scary.
and Wendy is a wonderful lady and talented, and
She does a lot for a lot of people.
she does, and so
So going into that too, talking about Wendy, because she's been a big help of it. You guys, along with Cut Above, has sponsored a brand new Always in Forever bridal book.
yes,
So, gosh, you guys have probably sponsored the Bridal Expo for at least 7 years.
yeah,
It's been going on for like 11.
yeah. I think we started either 12 or 13.
Yeah, so about 9 then. So we usually do the Bridal Expo,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, COVID and restrictions, we weren't able to do that, but people are still getting married. We're looking for a new way to get the information out, so we will be publishing a book. We have everything in, so it'll be heading to the printers here soon. Hopefully having it in our hands in the next few weeks, but Reid Insurance has been a huge sponsor of that, along with Cut Above, and it's always great to work with Wendy and Kelly, and you know, they have attention to detail, and they know that kind of thing, so working with them has been awesome. So thank you guys for
Oh well, thanks.
sponsoring that once again in a weird world, and not knowing the outcome of how the book would be, and we've gotten great responses, so.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to do it, and thanks for the opportunity. I think it's a great idea. You know, one thing, I have to brag on the chamber a little bit, okay? So, do I get suck-up points for this?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, ready.
yeah,
I'm ready.
sure, yeah. You're not beneath like completely open praise of of the job that you're doing or something like that. Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, it has been indeed a challenge. Of course, I was on the board when you were chosen to be the leader of the chamber,
Yeah.
and then I stayed on the board for another year. So I've seen a lot of what goes on with the chamber and the board and so on. And one of the things that I have to say you've done a great job with, Amanda, and Hannah, you've been a big part of as well. And I feel like the board this year and the last year or so has done a really good job is navigating, trying to run a chamber, which almost by definition is a really public type organization. You know, everything you're doing, you know, whether it's the infamous steak fry or LeaderCast or business after hours, all of these things have had to be navigated in a really difficult world.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
And Hannah, you've been really great to have on board.
Thank you.
So we got pretty lucky getting Hannah here. And so she's done a good job. She's shrugging it off right now.
She's
You can't see
shrugging
that.
if you're listening.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, I'm just a
Podcast.
natural, of course. I'm good at whatever I do. But anyway, it's been good. And to the board, I give anybody credit that's ever been on the chamber board, because it's not exactly what you would call a working board where you're necessarily lugging around chairs and setting up tables, though I think I did quite a bit of that. And
Probably.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so it is a working board, yes, and so on, but it really requires a big time commitment. And the commitment of the people to do this, and it's such a diverse group of people, because you've got Regina Vint, who's sponsoring this thing, which, by the way,
Yes.
that is really exciting for me, because
Yes.
Regina is a wonderful person and that runs a great business, a knowledgeable real estate agent, but at the heart of it all, she's just a great person.
She is. She's the cutest thing.
Honest,
I always say.
hardworking, fun to be around. I live Regina Vent
It's okay.
trail a little bit there, didn't I?
She's the best.
But,
And she's kind of your neighbor, so.
yeah, she's my neighbor. We kind of look out for each other. But at any rate, all the people involved, it's just a diverse group of people, whether they're small business owners or the manager of a large manufacturing operation, a supervisor at a factory, a banker, an insurance person, whatever it might be, just a great group of people. So after serving on the board, I have to say thanks to all of you for doing that.
Yeah, we went through a lot together.
We did.
Dan and I met back when I worked for Lincoln Way Animal Hospital for 3 years, bringing their animals, bringing his dad's animals, and me and your dad actually, that's how we have the great relationship that we have is just good. And I think that's a big thing is just, you know, and you have that with the insurance agents, is good customer service goes a long way.
Yes.
And that's how I met you, and me and your dad became good friends just by taking care of him at the front desk, and then he remembered me when I was here, and then you were on the board when I was the assistant.
Yeah,
So-
it was meant to be.
It was, and here we are now. You're off the board forever, and
Yeah.
well, you were on the board. I'm not going to give away your age, but way back
Oh my.
when.
Yes. Well, it was. I was on the board when all of that. You know, in the first segment, we talked about the tractor pull.
Yeah,
Wilbur Mahaffey,
I've heard his name a
the
lot.
late Wilbur Mahaffey, was in charge of the chamber at that time, and the chamber was really a very small. It was a part-time organization, and but he was located in the front office of this building. It wasn't the entire building.
Right.
But Wilbur was a great guy. And,
I've heard really good things about him, and I have no idea who he is.
he was a nice, sweet man, and he was retired when he took that on. And I wouldn't be able to judge how old he was, but he did a great job.
Yeah.
But I was on the board back at that time, which, yeah, I guess I already gave myself away when I was talking about 83, 84, right?
You know, you were on the board when you were a kid. You were a prodigy.
Well,
Yes,
yeah, you were
yes.
just like a young
First
young
child to ever
professional.
be on it, yes.
Yeah. So let's get into another fun fact that popped up in the last 3 weeks. So you have created a CD, an album,
Yes.
because rumor has it you are in a band.
Well, yeah, we're a studio band. You know, like we aren't out playing the bars and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'd probably be asleep by 11 o'clock at night anyway, right? But
It's the fact that like so many people ask you to come play that you just decide you can't choose.
yes,
That's what I thought.
exactly. Well, you gotta be selective, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, great lifetime friend of mine, Keith Newell. We've known each other, oh my gosh, since we were probably 6 years old. We went to Armstrong Elementary School together. We graduated from Upper Sandusky High School together. We've had so many times together in our lives. We decided when we were in high school, even though we didn't know how to play instruments, I mean, we were in band together. He played trombone, I played trumpet, and a little bit of drums on the side. We decided that we were going to be rock stars. Yes, I know that's hard to believe. I mean, just look at me. A natural rock star, right? Short hair, glasses, I don't know.
I mean,
Anyway.
most of those guys who were hot rock stars, like Alice Cooper, he doesn't look that different from you now, does he?
Well,
I mean, his hair's
actually
a
he
little
does, I'm
longer.
afraid. Yes, he does. Hopefully I look just a little bit better than Alice these days. But at any rate, we decided we were going to have a rock band. And so it started out that I was going to play guitar and he was going to play drums. Well, the problem is I was better at drums and he was way better at guitar than I was. And so we started our little band, and we had Jeff Warner involved. Jeff's one of my great lifetime friends. He played bass guitar. And like we did like maybe 2 jobs when we were in high school. That's about it. And we had a great fun, and then every time when Keith was home, Keith went on to become a colonel in the U.S. Air Force. Very successful guy, and a combat veteran, and my hat's off to him. I love the guy.
Thank you for your service, Keith.
Yes, yeah, thank you for your service. And he was in the service for many years. When he retired, he said, Dan, let's live the dream. So he built a studio in his basement, and we decided we were going to record some music. And we did a couple of CDs with Jeff a couple of years ago. And then we got together during the pandemic, which was challenging because of the whole social distancing thing.
Right.
He would email me sound files. I would play around with them a little bit, then email it back to him, and then we tweak it back and forth. And then we did some in-person recording.
Yeah.
And It was, but you know, you'd laugh. I mean, only in today's world could you do this. I'm like sitting at a computer at home, we're talking either on the cell phone, and he's sending me something on the cell phone. And Keith is super, let's say, technologically advanced. I mean, without him, I would have never been able to get this done. And I wrote the lyrics. Keith and I collaborated together on writing the music, the tunes, and he played the instruments. And I sang. And so it was really a joint venture. And we wrote a lot of songs about local things, and we've gotten great reaction to it. It's been hilarious.
It was great to see you put it on Facebook, and everyone's like, wait, because a lot of people didn't know that about you, and I was just like...
Yeah, Pat Carey, well, I can't say what he said in his text message to me, but anyway, he was
shocked.
Yeah, hi Pat, I hope you're listening. He was shocked, to say the least. And he loved it, and we got so many positive comments. It was really fun.
That's
a lot of memories for people. I had fun with the lyrics. We talked about old-time things in Upper Sandusky and Harpster, and really all throughout Wyandot County.
And you guys write all those, so...
Write all the lyrics, yeah.
Wow.
So what is the name of your band?
Okay, the Tords. There have been a few people that messed that up, and it didn't sound very good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Tords.
Yeah, Tords, Tords. And that goes back to, and Keith and I both have great memories for detail from our past. You can bring up something from the 4th grade and we'll be saying, oh yeah, I remember when we did this or that. Or some conversation I had when I was in high school. We honestly don't know where we came up with that. When we were in grade school, I think in the 2nd or 3rd grade, we started a little club that we called the Tord Trotters, because we were really into the Globetrotters. And where Tord came from, I have no idea. And so, you know, like that was our little club, and there were some other local guys from down there in Harpster that were in it. David Young and Doug McDaniel, Steve Corted, great guys. And so we all kind of went our separate ways. Okay, yeah. The Tord Trotters fell apart for some reason.
Gosh!
I don't understand.
I can't believe it. Well, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, if any of our listeners are interested in your band, how could they come across your music?
Well, okay, if you go to Facebook and look up Tree in the Forest Studio, you would be able to listen to that, and there is a link that's provided on there. If you are Facebook friends with Dan, there's also a link off of mine. Keith has one on his Facebook as well. And then finally, there's an app that's called SoundCloud. SoundCloud. And if you enter the Tords, you will pull that up on SoundCloud.
Tords.
Tords, yes. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, right.
So it's fun, you know, it's kind of the escape from reality type thing, but it's very fun, and I think we've created a lot of goodwill with it. And any references to people have always been in a very complimentary and fun way, or any businesses or times from the past. It's all in fun.
It sounds like you have a great love for your community and lots of fun memories.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, guys. Insurance guys can be artists too.
Yes.
But going back to your insurance, if anyone is interested in contacting you for that insurance, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, let's see, a couple of different ways. First of all, we invite you to like us on Facebook, okay? It's Reid Insurance Agency, that's REID. You can always go to our website at reidinsuranceenagency.com, again, REID. Every once in a while people misspell the name. You can call us at the office, and I'm pretty much there all the time. And if not, again, you're going to talk to somebody really wonderful and nice and understanding. That phone number is 419-294-4890. You can come visit us in person. We're located at 202 East Wyandot Avenue, downtown.
White house.
Yes, big white century home. Built in 1888, I found out a couple of years ago. Pretty cool.
So you're saying that you're going to start insuring your voice next?
Yeah. Well,
sounds like it.
I don't even know. Oh.
All right. Do you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, thanks. I really had a lot of fun doing this.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for having
awesome.
me.
All right, everyone. That was episode 4 of What's Up Wyandot. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, give us a like and a follow, and we will catch you next time.